Hey, I'm Kevin. Thanks for watching AMD Garage. With these videos, we hope to pass on some tool recommendations, product recommendations, and some tips to make your restoration project go smoother. This vehicle behind us, well, it's my personal project. It's my second-gen F-body Camaro. And every single bit of sheet metal on it, except for these windshield pillar posts, is completely skinned over with AMD parts. It's a complete reskin of a second-gen F-body. It's a 74, and we're turning it into the iconic 1970 Rally Sport look with the bumpers, and it's all out of the AMD catalog. Auto Metal Direct, that's our name. But one of our internal slogans is that we're more than metal. So now that we're completely finished with all of the sheet metal work on this vehicle, we need to reach for other components, other things from the interior to the exterior to the glass. So we're ready to transition from metal. So do I go to another company? No, we don't. We go straight back into the AMD catalog, and we're going to show you exactly what's available for this car, and it might surprise you. Check this out. Now this is the dash that came out of this car. It looks terrible. It looks really sad. But believe it or not, it's actually in pretty good condition. These dashes are modular. What that means is that there's a whole bunch of different pieces and parts that make up the dash assembly. Now, obviously, the worst looking part is the dash pad. If you've ever been to the AMD catalog and looked at the second-gen F-body, we've got a replacement dash pad. So we're going to show that to you today as well. But these other bits and pieces, they're not in bad shape. What you want to look for with these are broken tabs, broken screw bosses, broken corners. These glove box lids are notorious for being broken right along here. It's a plastic hinge. Pieces down under here are in nice shape. By our best guess, this vehicle had about 65,000 miles on the odometer, and I think it's honest miles. I think it's true to this car. Sadly, 50 years, a whole bunch of sun damage, and you end up with neglect, combining with all of that, and the parts end up looking like this. Are some of these savable? Well, let's look at these dash vents. Sure, they look fine, but they're not going to stay where you put them anymore. There's a bright trim work. There's the plating on top of the plastic. It's long gone, and we see a trace of it right there. So will these vents function? Sure they will. Will they look great in the car? Once we get a full paint job and an interior and new glass in this car, that's kind of where you run into the crossroads. Can these parts be restored? They can be cleaned up, and we can try real hard to put the trim pieces back together again. Trust me, I've done it. But it's nice to know that some of these parts are available, and I'm really excited to show you some of this stuff. So what we're going to be doing in this episode is focused primarily around the dash and the dash assembly. One of the things that we take really seriously at AMD is integrating. What that means is that if our new reproduction parts work well with original parts that don't need to be replaced. So if you look at our OBS dash line, all those pieces and parts are engineered to be interchangeable, and that way it keeps us honest with what we're offering and the fit and finish of the parts, and it gives you guys options whether you want to keep some of the original stuff or replace it all with AMD components. So we're going to be doing what's called a mock-up and assembling our dash, making sure that it integrates and fits in, and that there's no weird issues with fitment or gaps or anything like that, and that it fits in the space so that by the time we come back around and completely finish this vehicle, we're not going to run into any surprises. Tools that you'll need? Well, it's pretty basic. Basic hand tools, but your best friend is going to be a quarter drive socket set, and make sure that you've got these super small standard size sockets. GM was all over the map with their fastener sizes, and you're going to see quarter-inch and even smaller fasteners in some cases. So you want to make sure and have the correct sockets for the drive bolts and for the heads. That way you're not flirting with stressing anything out. We're dealing with old plastic here, so you want to make sure and have the right tools for the right job. Now, as far as a difficulty meter, this is pretty basic. It's pretty simple. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 as far as the difficulty scale. That's just because sometimes working with old plastic, it's a bit of a challenge, so you don't break it any more than it already is. So one thing I'm going to recommend is to get your hands on an AMD catalog, whatever you're working on. This is an incredible resource. Yes, the website, autometaldirect.com, we've got everything that is available for every vehicle that we manufacture for, as well as current pricing. So it's important to understand that. But the catalogs can serve as kind of a de facto assembly guide as well as showing all the different parts and pieces that we've got. For what we're going to be doing on this vehicle, this is going to show us the different layouts, where the vents go, different things that you may not consider, and it gives you a chance to see it, how it's supposed to appear on the vehicle. When you look through this catalog, it's just amazing the parts and the pieces that you may not have known that we have in stock. So get your hands on one of these catalogs, cross-reference it with autometaldirect.com, and that way you can sneak up on a restoration plan and keep in mind the pieces that you might need as you move forward with your restoration. Now, obviously, there's different labels here. OER and Classic Headquarters are great partners. You can see the variety of parts that we have here. Window cranks, pedal pads, different trim pieces, dimmer switches, pulls, even emblems. And this right here, we're converting this car back to a manual transmission with a center console, and this beautiful restoration quality shifter plate is something we're definitely going to be using. It's not just aesthetic stuff. There's functional things as well. Classic Headquarters has both 5/16 and 3/8 insulation seals. These are the butyl tape seals that the factory used, putting the front and rear glass in. So I know I've got this at my disposal whenever I go to put the glass in this vehicle. And the glass is available for this vehicle, as well as a whole other bunch of parts, trim pieces, door lock rods, weather seals, just about everything that you need. In fact, I'm going to be surprised if I have to reach anywhere else other than the AMD catalog to finish this car. So I've got a bench top here, so I don't have to work on the floor, and we're just going to start creating the new dash assembly. I want to show you the dash pad. Spoiler alert, it's not a box open. I've been in here before. I've looked at it and checked it all out, and it's really nice. The typical places where these deteriorate and separate from the backing is right along here. It's nice and flush. The grain looks factory and OE, and this is going to be good. And we'll figure out how well everything fits into it as we assemble it. But we're going to start with that right there. There's one other thing under the flap. This came in the box with the dash pad, and these are replacement clips which can sometimes get rusted. And I'll show you how these attach, but these are in nice shape. This little tab is actually what holds them in place in the steel dash. So we're going to hang on to these. But if you need a set, they're available at autometaldirect.com. We're going to start with our lower dash piece. And this is a reproduction, the first design, 70 to 73. It has the fasten seat belts warning buzzer here, and the trim is all in perfect condition. The trim, what I mean by that is the chrome strip here. So I don't have to mess around with magic markers or anything like that, or try and find a chrome paint. Spoiler alert, there's really not one in a pen, and this is going to be just a nice addition. So there's no fasteners available for this, certainly not in the box. So we're going to continue to go back and forth and borrow from our original pieces to reassemble the new pieces, which is a really good tip. Don't throw anything away until you're done restoring. Now this is a 1/4 inch. I'm using a deep well socket, an extension, and this driver. For disassembly, I'm good with it. But when I assemble these pieces, since I'm going to be screwing into plastic for the most part, I'm going to go with a hand ratchet, just for the sake of preserving the plastic. Yeah. So this is interesting. This is from the original air conditioning system, and look here, we're deteriorated. We're using a vintage air system in this car, and I'm grateful for that because they've got a super nice system. Anyway, for what I'm doing right now, I'm just harvesting fasteners. All right, back to what I said about hand tools. Sometimes power tools don't reach. also going to make a mental note of where these clamps go, because they're obviously wiring clamps, they're insulated, and we're going to put them back in the same place in our replacement dash. All right, so to get access to this fastener, I've got to take the center vent out, and I'm going to keep that assembled so that when we reassemble the vintage air system into this dash, then I've got it all the same way. Those look like 3/8. Now we can get to that guy. Wow, that was easy. Now, if you're going to reuse your fasteners, that's great if they're good. These are, but they're just a little bit rusty. I don't want to put rusty parts on new parts. So we're going to set up a little temporary clean up and spray area here. I'm going to wire brush on a drill. I'm going to clean the rust off, and then we'll spray these. It'll dry fast, and we'll throw them back in the new parts. Now, this fastener restoration trick is something I use quite a bit. As long as there's good integrity in the fasteners, you can reuse them. A wire brush cleans off the surface rust super easy, and then you can just use a cardboard box to pop the screws into to give them a place to stay still while you give it a coat of spray paint. This doesn't just have to be for the interior fasteners that we're using. It can be for body fasteners or whatever you need to restify or restore instead of buying new. Now, here's a tech tip for you. And I've actually bounced this off of a paint chemist before. And what we're going to use is a heat gun on low heat, and what we're going to do is called force flashing. This is a non-catalyzed spray can paint, and what we're going to do is just dry it really quickly. I learned this technique doing TV shows when we didn't have time to wait between doing something like this and putting it into the vehicle. So we're just going to, it's using a low heat. And we're just going to run the heat over top of the fasteners until the gloss changes, because this is a satin or a flat paint that we're using. And there you go. That's all it takes. It's not burning the paint, it's not making the parts too hot to use, and what it's doing is evacuating the solvents out on a technical level, if you want to know. And it gets them ready for us to put into the vehicle really quickly without having to wait. This technique is particularly good in the wintertime when parts are cold and they take a little bit longer to dry anyways. So, you're welcome. Now we're going to flip this over to reassemble it just like we disassembled it, but I wanted to show you this. This is the new lower third dash piece and the new upper dash pad. This is a common place for the original to not fit very well. But look here, we've got a really nice seam. And this is actually underneath. You're not going to see this with the naked eye, but it's nice to know that these two pieces fit together, right? All right, so we're going to flip this over. So since I'm a one-man show, I'm going to just loosely line this up, and I'm going to use this body clamp to just kind of hold things together. And I'm using an awl or a pick right here to make sure that my holes line up, and that allows me, there we go, I can actually pull it into place like that without risking any breakage. So I can feel the hole, and we're good to install. Not bragging on myself, but those fasteners look brand new. All right, so we're not done harvesting yet. I've got to pull these spring steel clips out, the J-clips, whatever you want to call them, and we've got to install those into the new lower piece. While we're at it, we're also going to do the same trick. And tidy them up a little bit before we reinstall them. It's got my clip. Oh, there it is, okay. I'm going to resist the urge to pull every fastener and every bolt and clip out of this lower dash, but I want to take them out like I'm going to reassemble them. That way I don't lose track of anything, right? So now I'm going to clean these up, put them in. Get things just loosely set in place. Oh, I've already messed up because that's where one of my wire clamps was. Anyway, we'll start over. I think those were, yeah, they were turned around like that. Just going to take a look and see how we're fitting. Yeah, that's going to be nice. We're not quite lined up here. You can see that. All right, so more to do. Okay, it's biting now. All right, take a look, see if we're lined up. And it looks good. So now I feel pretty comfortable in snugging this up. Okay. While we're still back here, we've got a backing for a bulb that goes into the fasten seatbelts light. I may or may not hook that back up again, but I want the provision to do so. Here's what I'm talking about. This guy right here. So we're going to pull that apart, see if it needs cleaned up. And also, we've got a little harness here. This is interesting. This is in good shape right here, right? So we're going to catalog this. This is our glove box illumination light. And said plugs for that box illumination light. All right, so that's in pretty good shape. There's no rust on it, but look at the dirt. I'm going to clean the dirt. Just a little bit of glass cleaner, and then we're going to put this guy back on. Oh, we got to do this side too. With this plastic stuff, you got to be careful just until you start to feel it resist, and then a quarter turn more, and it's going to be fine. It's like a pipe thread. It kind of self-tightens. You go too far, you hear that little pop, and it makes you sad. All right, so we're going to do that. I'm going to remove this harness. Got a couple of other random clips here too that we're going to get rid of. This is our latch for our glove compartment. And these guys, obviously. All right, so here's where GM makes its presence known. With 4011 different sizes. Of course, we're going to send these back over to the paint booth to have them refinished. And on need. That looks like a 5/16. It is not a 5/16. Take that back. It is a 5/16, but my eyes are fading and I can't see that. There's that. Now this harness, well, it's interesting. So we've got tabs there, and the light is going to come out. We've got to relieve that, remove it somehow. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so that goes inside there, and this gets pulled back out. So while I'm there, I'm going to just go ahead and complete that task. Ground wire goes through, gets reattached into the socket. There, that's good and seated. Come back through, and you can see this. The ears just grab on again, and she pops right back into place, just like new. And now this gets installed right there, but look how dirty that is. Come on now. That looks so much better. Okay, so we are going to reinstall this guy right where the general put it. All right, so this goes in where it doesn't interfere with the glove box lid. It does take the 5/16 socket. All right, that was strange. All right, now these are actually, this is adjustable, so I'm going to leave it kind of loose like that until we get the glove box in there. Make sure we get a good fit. All right, so this is obviously the passenger side HVAC duct that goes out to the vent, and it swivels and it pivots and it does what it's supposed to do, but it's kind of crusty. So we can use this, we can clean it up, and it'll be functional because, my gosh, does it need cleaned up. Here, look inside there. Can you see all of that? Can you see Charlotte's Web in there? Can you see Shelob from Lord of the Rings up in there? Can you see all the dirt and mold and stuff from the 50 years that has accumulated in this car? Okay, strike one. The thing's intact, we could reuse it. Strike one, it's nasty. Strike two, these are a little sloppy, that's fine. But the chrome finish, well, it's all wasted, it's deteriorated. So I'm gonna set this aside and thank it for its service, and we're gonna get a new one. Here's the new one. Ooh, ah. Now, I only had one screw from the original one. So I'm going to use 2 aftermarket screws to install this piece. All right, there it is. And to find the seat. That looks so much better. Function is there, everything's nice and firm. So the center vent, well, it's not broken. There's no broken plastic, but these guys aren't directable anymore. You know, it's just outlived its service life. And this one's, well, that's goofy. When we look at the replacement, it looks great. We also have a up and down vane here. I like that. It gives me more control over the HVAC. And these adjust. Chrome is nice. Yeah, man, we're gonna install this. If you notice, this one doesn't come with the studs. So we're gonna have to do a little forensic action here and remove the studs, because if you look really close, you can see the shoulder on them. And it's a 5/16 size. I heard a tick that sounded like breaking plastic. And there you see the difference in the thread pitch. This is designed to go into plastic, and this is designed to have a metal fastener on it, which we salvaged off of the original dash. So we've got another one here. And that one's in perfect shape. I can't knot, so I'm going to clean that up just a little bit. But before we do that, I'm going to put this back in the new one. We're going to try not to have that cracking sound. Super slow. I want it fully bottomed out so it pulls it flush into the new dash. All right, I'm going to clean this up and we'll throw this guy in. pins have to kind of line up. Okay, wow, they lined up. All right, that fits pretty good from the outside. Let's take a look from the inside. Now, remember, we've got these guys, plus a barrel nut, or a speed nut, whatever you want to call them. Okay, so that's good. So this is pulling the vent in. It wasn't seated perfectly up here, but now with those nuts on there, it's pulling it in super nice. Look up in there. All right, so we're just going to go slowly back and forth. Yeah, and I can feel that's drawing that in. Again, we want to be super cognizant of not over tightening this. That fits nice down here, and it fits good up along in here, and we're going to roll with that. Our old glove box door is in good shape, doesn't look to be too warped. The plastic hinge is even intact, and it's nasty. The little chrome strip across here is done. It's got a bunch of yuck on it. So let's look at the new one. Hello, obviously it's brand new other than my smudgy fingerprints. It looks really great. Obviously this is the one that we're going to use. But what's missing is our lock cylinder and latch assembly. So we're going to take that out. We have to take that out by removing this back cover. Now this one's perfect, right? But this one contains, well, aside from a bunch of yuck, it contains factory information. So if you're doing a Concours restoration, there's nothing wrong with taking this cover and transposing it over to the new one to retain your factory stickers. Personally, I don't care. We're out the window with this car anyways. We're styling it after 1970. So we've got to remove this cylinder, right? It's functional, it works. And I've even actually got the key, so we've got the full locking feature. We're going to move this over, although this is available new. The way we do that is that we use a bunch of release tabs that are on the cylinder itself. We access them through that little side pocket there. It needs to be in the closed position. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a series of tabs right there that we're going to depress with a screwdriver. And kind of pull it out at the same time. And I might have to have a third hand here. I don't know. But I've got my tiny screwdriver. I think the way this works is we release that tab at the same time as we're putting gentle pressure out there. So I've got to get another screwdriver. There, hang on. Oh, and that comes out in increments. See, it popped out about a 1/16 of an inch there. So now we're going to go back here. Punch in that other tab. It would probably help to have a soft jaw advice. Okay, there's that one went in, and we go out a little bit more. You can see it's a progress thing that happens. Now we're going to go in here, pop in the other tab, and I can kind of grip it with my fingers now. It's not quite releasing. Okay. All right, there you can see the release pins right there, tabs, whatever you want to call them. So I'm holding this in the same orientation that it came out. I'm carefully placing it down there. And we know that these go alongside of the rest of this assembly, which takes a special fastener to back it out. Hang on. Now, I just looked in my toolbox, and I don't have an Allen hex head, that big, but I do have a pair of needle nose pliers. What I was going to say is grab onto the back side and just get your needle nose and kind of ease it out. And there we are, removed. I may go back and clean that later, but for right now, I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is get access right here. This is just a little bit awkward, but you can see that tab right in there and how it locates into the plastic. So it kind of lets you know where it fits. Just going to get the threads to bite. There we go. Threads have bit. Okay, that's snug. It's in the same place. And I believe to install it, we just do just a reverse. So there's a real, you can see they're springy. All right, so there. Apparently I didn't have to do anything crazy like that, so. Okay, and lock position, unlock. So we're back to function. What I should have done, I'm going to tell on myself a little bit, is just take some quadruple aught steel wool and just shine that up again. Kevin, you dummy. Okay, so that gives me a project for later, a detailing project. But I keep this stuff on hand all the time, and I don't want to scratch the plastic, but you can see what kind of a nice job 4-aught steel wool does on chrome. All right, so that's a project for later on. We'll just know that we should have done that with it out, because I'm funny that way. I want to make sure and have the original sticker in place. So we're just going to reinstall the factory piece into the new dash. Besides, I like the way these fasteners look. They're a little bit more original looking. All right. If all goes according to plan and Isaac Newton, we should be able to just pop this in. There we go. We'll make sure this is in the, yeah, it's in the open position. What I'm trying to do is latch it. There we go, there's the latch. And now we can pop our hinge bolts in. All right, so we do have some adjustment on this, on the latch, but right there for first fit, that looks really good. Okay, and, dummy, gotta clean that up. So the dash assembly is looking really good, and we've got another piece to add. It's right on this corner. Is this piece. Corner vent, and it's bolted into the dash assembly. And it's another one of those cases of this part is in really good shape and requires just a little bit of cleanup, and then it could be fine, but it doesn't match. So we're going to use the new piece and, of course, our new HVAC vent because of the high degree of yuck that's in the other vent, and this is perfectly good. Obviously, we're going to put these on. But before we do, I want to show you just a little bit of a trick. If you're dealing with this stuff and you don't want to buy new and you just want to make it look better, check this out. So this vent shroud is in really nice condition. The grain is good. I don't see any deep scratches. More importantly, the two tabs that hold it in place on the dash assembly are in great shape. This guy right here, there's a little bit of a piece broken off, but this place is still savable. So we're going to restore it, whatever that means. We're going to clean it. When you're cleaning molded plastic, you want to be very, very careful. We're using a glass cleaner and a soft bristled brush. Obviously, I've used this before. It's not going to scratch or damage the plastic, and it's a pretty simple operation. But we are going to do a deep clean on it. I like to soak it down. This spray glass cleaner has a little bit of alcohol in it, so kind of helps with all the yuck, in case there's biohazard and all that schmutz that's on the back. That gets in all of that grain. And on the back side, we're going to do this. So if you're putting this back into service, you might as well have it clean, right? And if you got several pieces to do, a good tip would be to just run a sink full of water at home. Put some dishwashing liquid in it, get it pretty soapy, just let the parts sit. That detergent is mild enough to where it's not going to damage the plastic, just like the glass cleaner won't damage the plastic. And you can do a kind of a deep soak and just treat it like a sink full of dirty dishes and just get all that residual junk off. But you can see just with a simple cleaning job, it sure did a nice job, right? It looks nice. The color is restored. A little bit left in there. So what I'm going to do from here is just use some compressed air and clean out in this groove. And I'll show you why in a second. So at this point, you've got a couple of choices. If you don't mind the all-black look, because the base models didn't have the bright trim around the dashboard, you could just, if your lines are faded off, you can just take a black marker and just draw over the top of them. Or if the silver is gone, there's a couple of different things that you can do to create the illusion that that trim work is in nice shape. And I did this on my Z-Sled project, including the Chevrolet script on the actual older deck lid, and it's really quite simple. This is just a silver marker, and I'm just going to draw over the top, but here's a tip on how to do this. I'm going to use my fingertip, here without the marker, to steady the marker as I roll it around in here, and this is an old pinstriping trick. Use your fingertip to guide your marker, right? Up there, get where I can reach. There we go. All right, so I messed up there. I got to clean that up a little bit, and I'll just do that with a Q-tip and some cleaning solvent, but you get the idea. From a distance, that looks great, and you can visualize the whole dash done like that. It's going to look like the factory system. It's just not chrome. So there's a way to restore the appearance of these older parts when the plastic is good, the grain is good, it's not damaged, and it still looks new after you clean it up. Now you can just kind of get artsy. These are available anywhere, right? All right, so there you go. All right, that's all that wants. So look at this. This is pretty complete. We're just about ready for a test fit. So speaking of fit, there's some clips that hold this dash in. And one of the ways that this is a little bit better than the original involves these studs right here. So if you look at these studs, they come with a nut attached that holds a set of clips in place. I'll get the set of clips in a second, but let's count them. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we've got one over here on this side. Now this is not on the original dash. This doesn't exist. So here also, let's just take a look. Up through, right in front of the instrument cluster, is you've got a captured little space in here for a screw to hold it in place onto the steel frame. So you've got this combination of clips. This one here is to give a little bit of extra insurance and hold that area down to the metal dash. It's a nice little addition because as they age and as they deteriorated, we found out that this corner is kind of floating. So that just helps keep that in place. So we're going to install the clips, but there is, that'll hold just like it is. Let me go get those clips. All right, so here's the clips that come in the set. There's two different finishes, and there's also two different lengths. You can see these three shorter guys, and then the three longer guys. So you can see the distance from the stud to the edge of the dash is different between this one and this one. So obviously we've got our three shorter clips that'll go here. Actually, that's the correct orientation, because this little tab right here needs to lock in as we push the dash into place. So this guy will go here, guy goes there, and this guy will go here. But I want to show you exactly how these fit into the dash, because it's easy to get them confused and bolt them in the wrong way, and I'm a visual learner and a visual person, so let's go take a look. Let's get a visual. When these clips are mounted in properly, they go into this slot right here, and the little tab right there locks into the space, and that's what holds it in place and keeps it from backing out again. And it's very simple like that. But here's the thing that you want to make an inspection of. See the way this is a nice rectangle right there? That one's not deformed. This guy right here, this is a little bit weird, so I'm just going to take a pair of pliers, straighten that out. And it's kind of looped up there. That might be okay. But make sure that your clips will go into place and that everything is in kind of the right orientation for it to actually do its job. Here, I'm going to straighten this guy out. This one looks fine, and this one is a little bit goofy. And it might be a little tight. Okay. It's pretty thin sheet metal when it comes down to it. All right. I think we're in okay shape. Okay. Now I'm not snugging these in yet. I'm just leaving them a little bit loose. We can get to the underside with a tool to snug them up, but I want them a little bit loose to make sure they go easily into those slots. Now inside the car there's a couple of things. I've got this loose because the dash actually gets screwed into place on this lower brace, and it just helps to have it movable so you can locate your screw holes. Also, the steering column, you got to kind of drop it down. You got to clear some room, otherwise you're going to end up just really frustrated. So just drop your column, super easy. And that sets it nice and gently out of the way. Gives you a clear path to come in here. One more thing that I've got to go back to the toolbox for is a pointer, or an awl, AWL awl, that is going to help us locate our screws holes into this brace. And I'm not paranoid. I just know how hard I worked on this pretty black paint job with the satin black. So I'm just going to use some blue painter's tape and protect that edge just in case those clips pop loose. And that's another tech tip here. This blue painter's tape, it's really good masking tape. It's not great automotive masking tape, but it's really good for edges like this. The reason is that the adhesive isn't as strong as automotive masking tape, and it comes off easily. It won't damage your paint. So yeah, there's another tech tip. The trick is to start the clips in. There's that one and that one. Oh. Okay. Those guys are in. Not shoving it in yet because I want to make sure this one is located, and it's not. It's pinched on the upside. You can see how easily that would scratch the paint. Ow, there. Come on, go under. Pull me under. There we go. Now, triple check and go back and start completely over again because that's what happens. Okay, so we're in good shape there. All right, that was the sound I wanted to hear. That click, that pop, there we go, there as well. Now, we can go on the bottom side and deal with that lower brace. Now our ductwork, our vent on the inside is kind of hanging up a little bit. It goes like that, and there's a channel in here that has to go into a particular slot. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's our brace, and right in here, the brace needs to go in between, in this channel of the dash. So we're going to try and get that going. There, that's the place. There we go. Bingo. All right, so I've got one of the hex head screws in the bottom just to hold it in place, and now we can check the fit. I'm upside down. All right, let's look along the top, because it's seated, it's setting in the right place. I'm going to take our protective tape off. And you can see that this floats a little bit. Remember that I've got those clips loose. As we snug those clips, it'll tighten this up and draw it in closer to the dash, and we can see that that's the fit that we're going to get. That's outstanding, man. That looks really nice. Now, if I was putting this in permanently, I would absolutely lock those clips in, but I'm not. This is a mock-up and a test fit to make sure that I know what's going on when we really do put it in. So I'm just going to double check this side. I'm going to go ahead and lock it into this lower brace right here. And we're in good shape there. Yeah, I'm going to put a couple more screws in and then put the column back in. There's one more cherry on top that, that I want to see in here because it's just is going to be... Mwah. There. Steady as that. Our A-pillar trim. We've even got a nice fit against the dash right there. But we've got some work to do on these, so we'll put that on the pile. Now this told me everything I needed to know, and this is mission accomplished because we've got the complete dash assembly assembled, ready for installation, and it also tells me that by the time we're ready to actually put it in with the HVAC completely plumbed, all the wiring done, gauges in place, carpet, insulation against the firewall, all of that stuff done, this is going to fit in with no drama. So I'm super excited about that. Take a look at this piece of jewelry, man. Seatbelt pockets, got the storage compartment. It's all flocked on the inside. Really nice restoration quality. We've got the automatic shifter plate here and the manual shifter plate. Bam, right there. So whatever option you have, AMD's got you covered there. And this camera finish matches that. Actually, that's what Ford called it. I don't know what GM calls it, but this finish matches that finish. It just ties in. This is going to be so cool. And I'm just very excited about this. I'm going to call this a win. I'm taking the W on this. AMD Auto Metal Direct. It's in the name. We've got the best quality sheet metal in the automotive aftermarket, whether you're working on an F-body Camaro, an old Mopar, or a pickup truck. But after the metal work is done, if you need to reach for weather seals, interior plastic components, trim pieces, glass, we've probably got you covered. So come and see us when you're ready to move on and finish out your restoration. AMD is here for you. Thanks for watching AMD Garage. We hope you get something out of these videos. Throw it in the comments, and we'll see you next time.